Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please as we go through the following safety instructions.
In the event that there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop from the overhead. Place the mask over your nose and mouth. Breathe normally as oxygen is flowing even if the mask is not inflated. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others.
Recorded in private.
Now she's singing. You know I'm not taking that out. As soon as that button is pressed, everything is a go.
Watch me leave meeting now. Click.
I'm so done. Please don't leave the meeting. Then I'm just gonna be looking at the damn computer screen like, okay, she's coming back.
No.
Please don't leave me. I was about to go all full pink. I was about to go full pink on that. I don't know why. Something triggered, and I was like, "You better do it. You better do it." But I was like, "No, I cannot." Oh, anyways, I'm supposed to be starting the show. Okay,
composure. That's the intro right there. We don't need to start the show. They already know who he is by this point.
They just like, this nigga still hasn't gotten that shit together. Like,
hell no.
What episode is this on? Like, can you be more professional?
Year 2026.
Look, still not starting the episode out right. All right. Hello. This bitch. I would jump across this damn thing. I would go cyber on you.
I'm trying to say I'm sorry.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soliloquy Podcast, where we step out and talk about sexuality. It's your boy, Vernon T. Scott, your host here. Also, don't even do it, because I know you was about to. Also known as Slaytor Jackson, as well as Sebastian Adams, depending on how you found me. Shade is over here dying. Go ahead.
No, or that Keisha for the ones in the Mercer days. Or Glen Cacao.
Oh, yes. Oh, girl, we need to bring back the Glen Coco.
The Glen Cacao.
Child, 4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. The good times. All right, y'all. So today we have a tough topic to talk about. The topic of today is rape culture. I'm just trying to not get depressed already. But we're going to try our best to keep this energized. So, Shane, I want to start it off by asking you, what do you think rape culture is?
Rape culture, I just think it's just the minimalization of just sexual assault, sexual harassment, just anything that inappropriate, truthfully, because people, like, they make a lot of things just seem like, oh, it's a minor inconvenience, like that. What is that phrase? Boys will be boys.
Mm-hmm.
If he's mean to you, it means he likes you. Just like abuse. I also factor in abuse in that as well, like sexual, mental, and all like that. Like I factor that into the rape culture as well, because that plays a part in how we process and accept things, especially the victims of these terrible circumstances.
You're right. Definitely, I agree with just about everything. Well, actually, all that you said, because it all has a way in a sense coming back to rape culture. Most definitely, when it comes to abuse and how people manipulate others, it is a part of rape culture. I'm glad I actually thought about saying the word manipulation. That was like literally just came out of my mouth without me thinking. But when you think about consent and how you being consent forward or however you operate in your life, manipulation takes away consent. It forces you or convinces you to do something that you do not want to do, like being persuasive. That's another reason why I personally have issues.
And coercion.
And coercion. But that's a reason why I really have issues with going to car dealerships, because I do get triggered every time I go. Because it's like
car dealership.
I'm being real. It's like you're manipulating me, or you're trying to persuade me or sell something to me that I'm not here for. If I want something that is cheap, something that is affordable for me, then let me just coach me in a way, or coach me into a purchase that is best for me. If you think what's better, even though I'm telling you what is best for me. But it's like that persuasive tactic is just something that I could never get behind. Even when I was working in not necessarily sales, but call center life, and having to do upsells with people, and they're like, you have to do it on every single call. But I'm like, if I could tell this person's not in the right mental state, or if they are very frustrated, why are you trying to force me to do something that I don't want to do for the sake of profits? It's not making any sense to me. Like, to me, that is also in some way rooted within rape culture.
Yeah.
And something that you mentioned, because you said victim, and it's part of the topics that we need to talk about, victim blaming. Go
pisses
off.
me off. No matter the gender, like it just pisses me off really much. Because with women, it's like, what are they wearing? Why are they out? Why weren't they with someone? What did they do to lead this person on? And such things like that. And then with men, if they're sexually assaulted by a woman or just overall harassed, whatever, why is he complaining? He should have liked it and stuff like that. I was like, if they express that they are not interested, leave it at that. Anything beyond that, you're fucked up.
Facts. So this is how I like to connect dots of victim blaming with rape culture, and like even some of the things that happens in society is like, when I look at legal cases, that's all I see is nothing but victim blaming. A lot of our justice system, as I put quotes on that for those who cannot see me, our justice system is all about victim blaming, so that the person who actually was the perpetrator of a crime gets away. And it's like, even looking back at the Ahmaud Arbery trial, well, his murder case. All you see is people trying to make him out to be a villain when he is literally the victim. You have three white men chasing him, shot him just because he was in the wrong neighborhood, and they're trying to justify that rather than saying, we know our clients were wrong. This is like making an actual argument of why they should do less time than the time that they need to do. Like, the criminal system is just fucked up, honestly.
Don't let the perpetrator be an athlete.
Oh God.
A college or high school athlete, no matter, just an athlete of especially football or basketball team.
A big money bringer.
Yes. Like, don't let the victim be someone of either sport. They are going to be racked across hot coals for no fucking reason, even when there's proof that the person did it. There was a documentary on Netflix a while ago about 3 girls who were sexually assaulted by a high school football team. There was evidence that these boys planned and committed these acts because of a group chat on Facebook that they had, and someone leaked the messages and stuff inside of there. They were still blamed. They were told to shut up or they're going to ruin these kids' careers. I'm like, ruin their careers.
Ruin them.
Like, it was just mind-boggling. Like, okay, it wasn't that mind-boggling because, let's be real, this is just the world as it is. Rape is just, it's a mistake. Everyone makes a mistake. No. A mistake is actually mixing 2 paints together or losing your phone or something. Actively going out with the plan to hurt someone else, that's not a mistake.
That has intent. Exactly.
Like someone knocking over a glass of water, mistake. A mistake is something you can clean up and just go and start over. You can't, the victims of those type of events can't just start over. Sometimes their lives are completely halted because they can't get past it because they're not allowed to talk about it.
It's like even the intersectionality of rape culture and religion.
Oh God.
Girl, that mess is just so crazy.
What was it?
Like,
I watched a TV show about cults, and there was an episode about Jehovah Witnesses. I'm not their name of religion, but for the sake of purposes of this episode, the girls that was talking, she was sexually assaulted by a high-ranking member
Mm-hmm.
And they cover that shit up. They told her to shut up, don't say anything. Her parents didn't believe her. And it happened to a lot of other girls, well, just kids in general in the religion, but it was covered up. Come to find out, like when people investigated the Jehovah's Witness main headquarters, they found a lot of money that they were paying off to a lot of people.
Wow. That's
I
kind of
can't
like,
remember the name of the show because it aggravates me because I remember because they were like an investigation show that they were paying off. Like they were throwing money out, like they were paying off strippers to keep these families silent.
see, that reminds me of that Scientology doc that I saw on Netflix. Netflix just has all the good documentaries. That and
Listen, I
Hulu
love
got
me
the
a good
best drug
documentary.
related
Netflix,
ones.
I'm like, y'all may keep upping your price, but if you keep dropping these type of documentaries, you're gonna keep me here.
Facts. That's
Like,
the only
fuck.
reason you're educating me. I'm okay with it.
I
But like,
really do love learning about things, even if it is morbid. It's something like, oh God, like that documentary about that man that kidnapped a girl like 3 times and was fucking the parents too.
girl, that shit was wild. Oh
I'm
my
like, wait a
God.
minute. My mom would have and took her to Mexico. My mom would have came to Mexico,
Girl,
especially after she found out he was assaulting me the first time.
child, there wouldn't
This
have been
man would have
you
been
could spend the
buried
night over our
in
neighbor's
Mexico.
house.
And my mom wouldn't let me go down the street without knowing where the hell I was going. I'm like, Mom, is this up the street?
Look,
You don't see me up the street.
we
Who you
have to be
playing with?
home by the street lights. Come on
Oh
now.
Lord.
But
So yeah,
like,
like that documentary was wild, and that also plays a part of rape culture. Like they were like, okay, because like they think because this person's nice, this person's been friendly. People, especially people who are out to like abusers,
mhm,
a lot of them are very good with words,
yes.
and that is the most terrifying part about it. No matter the gender, abusers are damn good at words and like the emotional manipulation.
Mhm.
And it's just terrifying. And that's why people don't believe victims. They're like, why are you there for so long? It's a mentality, like they feel like they're stuck.
The Holiloquy podcast focuses on the variability of sexual expression. When it comes to sexual expression, we often depend on pornography to illustrate how one must perform sexually. For those who have not learned this by now, the stuff you see in porn is not real. Pornography provides a singular perspective of sexual expression that is not often the reality we see during our own sexual encounters. The Holiloquy podcast is a conversation that takes you outside of the compressed box of what many know about sex. Some of the topics we discuss includes kinks, condom usage, status disclosure, and past sexual experiences. The Holiloquy podcast steps out on sexual norms and recognizes that the norm is not the only normal. Subscribe today and join the conversation.
They're like, why are you there for so long? It's a mentality, like they feel like they're stuck because we don't know what's being said to them on a regular basis
To keep
behind
them
closed
there.
doors, especially when the victims, when they start being abused, like they're young. Like when you see cases about men and women who are stuck in abusive relationships with someone else, when you look at a lot of the relationships, they've been in there for a couple of years when it started off when they were younger, or like, and sometimes the partner has a good number of years on them.
That's like, I know somebody might get triggered by it, but I don't give a damn. Like when the R. Kelly series thing came out.
Surviving R. Kelly.
Surviving R. Kelly. You know, I appreciate them for doing that, but I need them to go ahead and do a Surviving Weinstein doc, like for real.
Yeah.
I need them to do like a lot of Hollywood executives do their survivings, because it's more than just like R. Kelly out here. It's more than
way
just
more than R.
Epstein.
Kelly.
It's too many. You know,
There's
way more than Matt Gaetz out here.
like what was it? One of the guys from Boys Meets World.
Ooh.
The main guy's best friend.
Sean?
Yeah, apparently like there's been, I'm not sure if there's a documentary, but I remember seeing someone saying like it was a well-known, best kept secret that he was being assaulted by higher ups.
Oh my. That's kind of like the situation with Nickelodeon. The fact that there was it the exec that has a lot of issues? Who?
From the iCarly show?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was one of the executives. I've never seen that.
Like I would love to hear that story of unraveling that, but of course that is
This
to get the
There's a lot
story
of
requires
children
consent of.
stars in general.
Mhm.
Like I feel for a lot of, because you see them, like not too many are still that same happy-go-lucky person that they started off to be. A lot of them are a lot more reserved and they just want to live their life. Like Amanda Bynes is asking to in her conservationship.
Mhm.
And people are like, no. I'm like, a
Let her be
conservationship is a
free.
conservationship. And someone shouldn't have their life dictated to them just because someone doesn't like their actions.
Mhm.
Like now I understand if it's something that's life threatening, like they're a possible harm to themselves and others. I can understand situations like that, but if they're just making regular mistakes in life that people make, making a wrong decision about a relationship, a wrong financial decision, that happens. I have made a couple of those. I've learned from it and I just kept going. My parents did come in like, you can't have this right anymore.
Mm.
And I think that also plays a fact into rape culture. When you look at it, it's mostly women that they try to stop our actions. Like if you look at Texas, we can't do shit in Texas,
Yeah.
apparently. I'm terrified.
I would not. I would not ever
But,
move to Texas. Oh my.
but yeah, it's just like men are allowed to be confident, outspoken sexual beings.
Mm-hmm.
But if a woman does it, we are
She's a hoe.
suddenly a harlot, a whore,
Whore.
hoe, a thought pocket, all these things. It's like, but you complain when women don't have sex. And in fact, that's how several mass shootings were blamed on the fact that women will not date men
Girl
or that protect or that protect that
had a
particular
bad
man.
day. Like
And it's
I don't get like how like let's go back to the Atlanta situation with old dude who had a bad day. That's the
that
excuse
shit pissed me
there.
off.
Yet we're not going to say anything about the fact that he literally went to a spa that well I didn't know that was known for some type of sex work related activities.
Side note, a lot of spas
Mm-hmm.
throughout Georgia are known for it.
Makes sense.
Because Atlanta is actually a major sex trafficking location. Macon is a good highway because we are literally in direct middle of the state.
True.
We have a connection to most of the cities, so it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible fact. Yes, going what you were saying.
Like I saw comments of individuals blaming the workers who are being forced in that environment for like because they are working in a sex spa, they deserve to be murdered by a person who was having a bad day, who also frequently visited those.
I think in the official reports he was blaming for his lack of money. I can't remember back the actual wording of it. He was upset. He didn't have any more money to go to these places, and he was just fuck it. I'm like, no, he targeted these specific locations with these specific staff members of a specific race. No, he was just he's a terrible fucking person.
Horrible.
I'm getting tired of them always trying to like, especially when the mass shooter is white, they're trying to always come with this outreach, convoluted explanation for their actions. It's like, no, they just want to do a shitty act. Who was that swimmer's name that raped the woman that got caught? And they were like, he was just, and his dad was like, it's a boy having a good, like Brock something.
Oh, you're
Is
talking
it
about
Brock?
the one Stanford.
Yeah,
Stanford kid?
he wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. The Olympic board was like, fuck you, homie. Banned. Never allowed to swim here. We don't associate. And like he was only sentenced to like 6 months in prison, but only served half of that.
Mm-hmm. Girl, there's there's a police officer who's only serving a day in jail. Well, he was I don't know if he was out on bail or if he was serving some time before his sentencing. I need to go back to the article. I kind of talked about it in my dissertation defense, but old dude literally only spent he's going to only spend like 1 day in jail and then be on probation for raping 2 women. And he was convicted of this. And now the judge is also trying to overturn his convictions. Like,
yeah,
the fuck?
Like they would do anything to let a rapist slide. And I'm like, and this is of any race I've noticed too.
Mm-hmm.
While yes, the fair skinned, ones will get off a little bit lighter, but most rapists will get off.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why a lot of victims don't come forward. And then they're like, why don't you ever speak about it? When you are questioned, first of all, the police officers don't believe it first out. They just want like, are you just mad at this person? You want to ruin their life, which does happen. I'm not condoning that. Those people need to be thrown in jail too.
Mm-hmm.
Making a false report, just throw their asses in jail because that can ruin someone's life. And it can also take away from the validity of actual victims.
Mm-hmm.
So if they make a false report and it's proven to be false, throw their asses in jail too, because they fucking up for those who actually need help.
Mm-hmm. And I think right now, 95, last I checked, but I know this was mostly towards collegiate students, but that's where most of the data comes from that we have in society these days outside of CDC.
Yeah.
But 95% of sexual assaults go unreported. 95%. That's a lot.
There's a book that I read that is based in let me look it up real quick. It actually talks about rape culture on campuses. And I remember reading a line that a woman went to the campus police or regular police, can't remember, but one of the cops was a female cop and she did. No, that's not it.
Okay.
I found it. It's a bit older, I believe. I can't remember when it came out, but I remember reading it a couple years ago. But yeah, one of the cops was like, it's no different than any other college campuses. And when the writer was like, she's not wrong. Rape cases across campuses are actually about the same. And its reporting rate, no matter how big or small the campus is. And that was really, really sad. You can't see it. It's flipped.
Oh, Missoula. Oh, I know that one. I actually used some comments from that in my paper, my dissertation. I need to actually read the full thing though.
It's actually a really good book. And one of them, like, it was a childhood friend that raped her at one point. She recorded him admitting it, but come to find out she couldn't use that.
Like, so this is going off another case that happened. So this was last year. Young man, he's like 20. He raped like several young girls. Four. He was I think 17
was a serial
at the
rapist
time.
at that point.
Serial rapist, yes. And he raped one girl. It was his sister's close friend. Put his hand over her mouth. She's crying and everything, and just raped her. And even told her to stop being such a baby during the process. And they went to jail. Not with jail. They went to court. And I think he got 2 years of probation, at home probation, and that's it. Probably a year or so in actual jail, but that's still a slap on the wrist of the fact that you literally raped someone and actively continued knowing that they were uncomfortable, and you literally put your hand over their mouth and you admitted that you've done this. So you admitted that you raped someone, and then you still get off. Like, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of, like, I'm not saying don't report, but definitely do report. But it gives that mindset of, what's the purpose of me reporting if it's not going to go anywhere? Which is why a lot of men don't report their own sexual assaults. Because
men rarely, they report less than women because they'll be mocked. They're like, aha, you're not a man. Why are you so against this? The woman was hot, especially if the woman's hot.
Oh, yes.
Like, they're like, why are you complaining? Like the whole, what is it? Older woman, hot older woman, young teenage boy joke. I'm like, no, that's terrible.
Which brings me to another situation.
Because even South Park made a joke about that. The whole episode was wild. Like, only, who was it? Kyle. Only Kyle thought it was wrong. The only one that made a fuss about it. Then he told his parents, and his parents like, well, the dad was like, okay, wait a minute. But the mom was like, fuck that. But the police were like, nice.
That's like, you remember a couple years ago with the little Boosie situation, and I only bring him up
that was so disgusting. I actually had people on my timeline like, what's wrong with it? I'm like,
it's a child.
He's like 9. He was like 9 at the time, the kid.
I think he might have been 13. I think he was
because he has two. He has 2 kids, like 2 sons. He had that had it done, I believe. Either way it goes, I'm like, that's wrong. And what was his excuse? Like, to make sure they're not like not gay or something. Boosie
Something
has
like
some
that.
weird hard on about gay people, and it started to become sus. It's like, sis, just come out the closet.
Please, too. You and Tyler Perry, y'all can date each other. I'll be here for it.
Like, damn, shut up. No one's this fucking mad. Even conservatives don't even talk this much about it.
Low key, like
damn.
and I don't like to just like only use Boosie, but because
Boosie had a wild ass adventure.
It's a lot of people out here who support that and follow that, or even did that to their own children. It's just that's the only one I could think of right now. But it's
here's the most recent one that's been blatant about it.
The fact that you have so many people who are talking about, oh no, that's not wrong. Shoot, I had a thing for older women when I was a kid too, and I've done that too. You were sexually assaulted. There you go. That's what happened to you.
Like that person took advantage of you. Like there's a thing that you can be interested in someone older, but you should never pursue that. Like if the age range is a year or two and you're also within that, like fine. But that person is like 10 years older than you. Come on.
Like it's crazy.
That's why I do get a little creeped out when I see people like our age, like late 20s, looking at people in their early 20s, like 18, 19 to about 22. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like while they're all consistent adults, that mindset is completely different.
That's true. Child, that's why
like 18 to 22, you're still trying to figure out what the hell you trying to do in the morning.
You just got that freedom. It's like, truthfully, it's like even with myself, if someone that's like, well, okay, definitely 19, I just can't do nothing with you. Leave me alone. God, no, you can't agree to drink. Fuck you. No. Like
21, 22, you're drinking like a fish because you can now.
You can, but it's like, what you don't have any substance about yourself to be in like an intimate relationship with me. If anything, if it's sexual, it's sexual. It's just going to stay like that. Of course, consent focused, but it's like, other than that, I don't know, because you have a lot of growing that you still have to do. Your brain's not even done developing.
And that's how you see a lot of these abusive relationships. They're like, when I met him or met her, she was like 28, 29. They were like 20.
It's like you at age 26, 27, that not 26, 27, between 26 and 30, when everything, your entire age becomes a blur. You forget how old you are. You just know you're not 30. But you've lived so much life that you start to realize that I'm trying to come into myself for real at this point. And you think that someone who doesn't even know who they are, barely know about their freedoms, barely even know how to express themselves in a healthy way is going to be a ideal partner for you. Like, granted, yes, trauma does age people. It does age. Sometimes it might happen, but you have to be willing to have therapy on your part. That other person, that your younger partner, whoever it may be, they need to have therapy on their part. They need to have foundation, be able to be independent on their own without mommy and daddy's help and all this other stuff. Like, it's so many factors into engaging or dating somebody that is like literally 8+ years younger than you.
Like, I'm not saying that it can't happen. It has. People have flourished. But in a lot of cases, like, you also, on the flip side, you also see like those power dynamics where a lot of abuse happens, where it doesn't have to just be physical. Emotional and verbal abuse are way more damaging than physical abuse, in my opinion. People can have different opinions, but in my opinion, emotional and mental abuse lasts a lot longer.
I actually agree with you 100%, because physical abuse does have lasting effects. It does harm you, but physical abuse also has a mental aspect to it also. So it's like that mental outweighs the physical, because people go back to their abusers because of the mentality that they're in, or because that became their normal, and it's hard for them to break out of that because of some kind of mental block that they have. So the mental, to me as well, outweighs that physical abuse. Not to lessen what the physical side is.
No,
but
not to lessen at all.
like, even if you look at what's going on in society now, and a lot of people who are impacted by, QAnon theories and all the other stuff, that is their belief system is based off a lot of mental trauma or a lot of manipulation of their own mind. And you see how that has impacted them. They're willing to die in this point in order to, I don't know what their goal is at this point.
Yeah, and then you look at it, like a lot of the people who argue against it are older. And I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are also men of all age ranges. Older men and women, and then mostly men of the younger generations defend actions like this, like sexual assault and just abuse in general. And that's because the mentality has been shifted down by generation and generation about certain things. Like the men are the dominant, quote unquote, dominant one in the relationship. Therefore, and also a lot of them refer back to the Bible about the wife submitting to the husband and listening to him and stuff like that. And it's like, whoa. There's a lot of things in the Bible that can be used and not used. This says a lot of things that we shouldn't do, but a lot of people cherry pick. So it's just like we see people comment about how if someone was assaulted or something, it's mainly older people and men. They're like, what were they doing? Why? Photo and yada yada yada.
Give me the laundry list. Answer all these questions rather than just saying, oh, that
yeah.
person
So it's just like, and then women who, and they view women of the younger generations as terrible because one, we're not submitting. You can talk to me, we can come have this conversation together, but I'm not submitting. I don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, my boyfriend will make a decision. I'm like, why? He'll explain. I'm like, cool beans, let's go with it. Like, I'm not gonna follow blindly.
And that's
especially if I'm involved in this. Like, if it's by himself, he wants to do it. I'm like, be safe, have fun, don't die out there. But if it involves me, explain.
And that's the difference between our generation and many other generations.
Like, I'm getting comfortable with my body. I like buying little Thot pocket outfits because one, I have a job, I can pay for it, I sustain my living, I don't care, I'm gonna buy what I want. Amen. And I look good in my little Thot pocket outfits, and I look great. And we'll go out with my friends with my little Thot pocket outfit and have a good time. Amen. Like, that's how you're not supposed to just live in a box and be, I'm not wearing a turtleneck sweater all damn day. That shit sounds hot. Because that's how a lot of, like, when you look at the outfits back then, I'm like, damn, I can't see your neck. I can barely see your pinky fingers. What the hell is going on here? Child. So it's like, I wanted this, let me live. Like, I'll meet someone who's happy with me and is okay with how I act. If it's not for you, then keep it trucking and find someone who will. Like how me and you said, the toxic masculinity meets the pick-me's, and they are perfect together.
Facts.
Like, that's that. See, they have that dynamic right there. Like, I'm a man, like the alpha podcast. The
betas.
Oh man, those podcasts also contributes to rape culture. No matter, because they're like, a man can do this, a man is that. Women, yada yada yada. Men create the value. That, like, no. And then it's like every time a woman has sex, her value goes down. Therefore, she has to stick with that man she had sex with. And it's like,
what?
That's actually in some of those podcasts.
The math ain't math.
I like to send you clips of people making fun of it because that's one way I watch it. Because they literally say shit like that, how women's value becomes lesser. Like, what's a lesser? They're devalued every time they have sex and have a kid. So therefore they have to stay with that man.
What?
In order to preserve, they're losing their value. They have to stick with that man. That way their value is not as diminished. And I'm sitting there like, the fuck are y'all talking about?
I don't know if I'm too dumb to understand or I'm just on a different level that I just can't comprehend. I don't know. What?
I'm going to send you some clips because alpha podcasts like contribute to rape culture. Actually, they are a part of rape culture. It's like the shit that they say.
Child, let me get my advertisements on their podcast so people can actually go somewhere that will actually heal you and so you can be understood.
Like, they'll also, like, one of them invited a woman to the podcast and they just talked over her.
Is this the Who's the host of
There's
this?
several of them. There are several. Some are actually getting banned. They started off on, I think, somewhere on TikTok. And they're getting banned from a lot of social media sites just because, like, the shit that they're saying.
Like, wow.
Vernon, it's wild out here on the internet.
This is why I'm. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it, Lord. I just can't. Oh, which this is completely off topic. So some people, because I had this conversation in the past, do not agree with me because of this. But I want your opinion here. You remember the Bill Cosby situation and Felicia Rashad when she stood up. I'm on the side of Felicia Rashad in that.
What was her stance again?
So her stance was pretty much, now this is not me saying I'm with Bill Cosby. Let me say that already, because the nigga still needs to be in jail. But so she pretty much was like, there's a lot of Black men who just are being attacked, and Bill Cosby just happened to be one of those, and we have to be cognizant of that. That essentially, there are certain people who lied on him and stuff like that. She was an apologist of Bill Cosby. Now, it's not the apologist side that I'm defending when it comes to Felicia Rashad. It is her mindset that I'm defending.
What's the mindset?
So for me, I think back about what she experienced in her life. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't, because her mindset low-key does go into her apologist side. And you know how people were making the argument that the government is out to get Bill Cosby because the government be out here to get Black men. So I was thinking about her speaking out and the words that she was saying and taking her historical context into perspective. Now, with her being wealthy, she is removed from a lot of the shit that a lot of people are going face on a regular basis, because she's been removed from that for some time. And I also think about what traumatic experiences she may have come across, because one, to her, Bill Cosby is a friend, and I let that be however it wants to be. But I'm like, so she witnessed a lot of Black men in her lifetime either be prisoners of war, political prisoners, assassinated like MLK, Malcolm X, and then she also witnessed a lot of Black trauma, or just the government going after Black man after Black man after Black man. So when it comes to a friend of hers that she just wants to protect, that she's mostly just speaking out on the fact that because of the trauma that I experienced, this is what's happening.
Same thing happened in the situation.
That's what I defend when I speak on what happened with Felicia Rashad. Because a lot of people like cancel her, and I'm like, why?
Like, if she would have just talked about that part, like what she's been through, and just left out the Bill Cosby part, I think people would have been with her. I think it was just the fact that because I just looked it up, because I forgot all about it. I think the fact that it just came off very dismissive of the trauma that these women have gone through. And then they had to relive because, people are like, Cosby didn't do that shit. Why they wait so long? I even got to argue with my own mother about it, about Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. Because my mom, she's in her late 40s. She's in that demographic that grew up with Bill Cosby and banged out with R. Kelly when he was starting to come up. So it's like, Ma, you gotta think about it. If this is the reaction that you are having now, like what if it was me? And then I see you out here posting this shit. Could I talk to you? She's like, yeah, no, I couldn't. And that put things in perspective for her. Because if it was like me or one of my sisters, or hell, even my little brother that went through a situation like that, and then we see her posting, defending someone that hurt us, we're like, you tell us we can come talk to you, but it makes it not a fact at that point. So it's like, I can't talk to you.
And I think that's the thing that is really missed in social media or just in regular conversation these days, is that opportunity of just talking or helping somebody see it in your own view, because we're we're so reactionary. Well, not we, like me and you, but you know, as a collective, we are all
Like
so
me and my mom have the same temper, so we were yelling.
Oh, never mind. But it's
No,
like,
because my mom's my mom, it's a defense mechanism for my mom. My mom had a traumatic childhood growing up. My grandmother's trash.
mm,
My maternal grandmother is absolute trash. I don't talk to her. I don't want to ever talk to her. I mean, entire people saying, it's your grandma, that's family. Fuck
yeah.
her. I won't even show up to her fucking funeral. I don't like her that much because she fucked over most of my aunts and uncles and my mom. So it's like, no, I don't want to. And then that ends up falling back on the kids. And she was terrible to grandkids, most of us. So it's like that trauma leads down. Like, I think I'm the only one of the grandkids who experienced it heavily, like in the first set of grandkids, because the rest of them came like 10 years later. They were kind of removed from it. So they didn't experience it as much. But I was really the main one who took on brunt of like the family trauma. Like, I was the dark sister. I was the bigger sister, like in heavy set, stuff like that. I was the quote unquote nerd. I took on a lot of that abuse. And I got counseling. I got help. I found ways to deal with it. I'm better now. So it's just like my mom never went to therapy. A lot of my aunts and uncles never gone to therapy. And it shows because my mom's first instinct when she's on the defensive is to yell. And I'm not, and since I get triggered when I'm yelled at, because that's all they did, I yelled back. I'm like, you ain't talking to me like this. And I even told her that. I'm like, you may be my mother, but you're not going to yell at me in such a manner. So pop the fuck down. And then she was like, what? I'm like, you fucking heard me. Pipe the fuck down, because we're not yelling. And then she started to calm down. I'm like, here we are. Now we can talk this out. And that's where we had the discussion. What if it was me, my older sister, or my younger sister that went through those things? And then we see you out here blaming the victim. How can we talk to you about it? How could we come to you in that manner? So it took a lot. I had to reach her on her level and bring her back down, because like my therapist was like, it's okay to cuss at your parents. They piss you off and they're treating you like you should be treated. I'm like, damn, I see why I pay you.
Because look, you just need one person to give you that permission.
Yeah, and it was like I'm not sure why, but it's like a validating thing. People are always like, you can't yell at your parents, you can't do this. But I'm like, a lot of us carry trauma from our parents because our parents never dealt with their own traumas. So it's like, I'm not about to, and I'm not going back to where I came from. Like, I was a ball of anger. I'm going to admit it. I was a ball of anger at one point. And I'm like, nope, I ain't going back to that stage. I'm a lot healthier. I'm a lot happier. So my mom started yelling. I'm like, who the fuck it is you talking to? And it's like, my mom wasn't used to us yelling back at her. Me and her do have the same temperament, but I also have my dad's temperament as well. Like, I have my mom's temper, but my dad's temperament. So I'm like, don't yell at me. I even gave her like, please stop yelling. Stop yelling. I'm like, you know what? Who the fuck you talking to? Calm your ass down and pipe the fuck down. She's like, who you talking to? I'm talking to you. You're the only one in the kitchen. Who else am I talking to? So it just like, it takes a bit to fight. We have to fight our own parents and, well, this family in general on rape culture.
That is so true.
Because it's like, what if it was one of us? I'm like, even if it wasn't me or my sister, it was like one of my cousins, her nieces. It was like, yeah, some of them, I'm not gonna lie, some of my cousins out here thotting and bopping. They're 22.
Oh, that's the age too.
21, 22 is like, they're living life. They're exploring. They don't know what the hell they want to do. I expect them to make mistakes in life. Hell, I'm going to make mistakes. She's going to make mistakes. I expect them to try to explore life, explore things they do and do not like. Because that's also a time where you explore sexually a lot too. Because my family, we got lucky. Our family is very open about enjoying sex. Like, that was one thing my family did teach us, right? Sex is something to enjoy, not just do it for the heck of it. You have to actually enjoy it. So I'll give my family props on that. They did teach us, like, you got to enjoy sex. Don't just have because someone's like, you're pretty. So am I going to enjoy the sex life because you just gave that to me? No. Like, you got to work at it. You got to find things what's good for you. So like, yeah, some of them are in, I think one of my cousins in a good relationship right now. She likes the guy. I'm not sure how he treats her. I don't talk to her too much, but she seemed happy in all the pictures she posted of them and their son together. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let it rock. But yeah, like they're advocates on enjoying sex. Even if you don't like the person, if the sex is good, we're not gonna knock it. Like I'll give my family that they taught us to enjoy sex. They taught us to how consent works. Because the men in my family don't play that abuse shit. They don't play putting your hands on someone just because they made you mad. Self-defense, that's a different story. But if they make you mad, just walk away. Because we're a volatile family. We argue. We verbally argue. It rarely comes to physical blows. And then if it gets too hot in a moment, we walk away. So like I'll give my family that much because they did teach us some healthy methods of handling anger. Just walk away, but we still going to yell. We're going to yell, we're going to cuss, we're going like, who are you talking to? Da, da, da. But we rarely ever come to physical blows.
That's something that I need in my family. I'm not going to lie. Because, who child
Man, shit. I'm just more grateful they taught us about consent and how to actually enjoy your sex life. Because there are some people, male and female, and in between and beyond, that are stuck in relationships because they just think we get to have sex. I'm gonna stay here.
I think my family has been on the back end of learning from me as I learned through my journey. Because I'll be posting all the vulnerability stuff. So it's like, even when it came to like, because with me being big on sexual violence and sexual assault, and I post something and they're like, okay, I if Trey says it, I guess it might be right. And then like that's how I found out how some other members of my family were sexually assaulted. Like one of my cousins, I forgot who, but that person is the father of her child. Older cousins, like my mom's generation cousin. But
that happens a lot.
A
lot of them actually stick with that person.
Then there's like incest, things like that happens that just don't talk about enough.
I'm getting tired of that because that plays a lot into a lot of things. Especially within, I'm going to speak on our community because it's the only one I know. Black families, like the Black community, like they can know when the family members like mess with the younger kids. They still invite that motherfucker to every function. And then when they actually do something, they tell the kids not to say anything.
Right.
And that just teaches them someone hurt me, and I can't tell them, or it's going to get that person in trouble or cause a lot of problems in the family. And I'm like, that's a terrible thing to teach kids because they carry that with them their entire lives. And I'm like, what was it Medea movie? Which one was it? Remember
the most recent one?
No, it was an older one. It was about the lawyer daughter, Brian. No, Brian.
Oh, big Happy Family.
Yeah,
the play,
both the play and the movie, because they brought up in both how someone had sexually assaulted the daughter that really was against the mom, like just did everything the mom didn't like.
Right.
And she kept that child and told her daughter not to say anything. And it played out. I'm like, this is actually very realistic because that daughter was so angry at her mother, was just so angry. And I got older, I realized that anger is justified.
It is.
She lived through a traumatic event, found out she was pregnant, was forced to keep that child, and then had to see that child every single day until she was old enough to move out, and still had to be reminded of that event every single day. I couldn't imagine what that would do to somebody. The fact that it's a Tyler Perry play, so of course it wasn't going to play out this way, that she didn't take her own life, is shocking, but it's Tyler Perry. He wasn't going to have that in his play. But in a real life situation, mentally, someone could be driven to that point and just end it all, because that's a constant reminder. And the girl was like, I think they said like she was like 13 or something. Like she was young. Very young. So she could have died in childbirth because her body wasn't developed to handle that. So it was like I just remember that movie because we brought up the incest and within the Black community and like stuff like that. And I'm like, that probably happens far more often than we know.
Way too often. And then I would
Thinking about it
say,
makes me sad and upset.
like rightfully so. Like I would say, like a lot of that is very common within that older generation because there was
Mm-hmm.
so much need of privacy, and I think some of that stems from religion too. But it's like there that privacy of keeping it
Jesus will
in
fix it.
house. Jesus will fix it and pray on it, and it's
Take it to
like
Jesus. Take it to God.
no, we need to talk about this shit. We need to address the pedophile of the family. We need to talk about the person who continues to harm every single young lady that you can have. You were assaulted by this person as a child, which is the main reason why you don't want your children to be near that person, but
Mm-hmm.
you're afraid to call them by their name because your own parents told you to keep that a secret. Let that
Yeah.
go. Let it go because it's only going to continue to eat at you. And that's a conversation that we really don't have often within any community,
Like,
especially the Black community, because there are
I,
so many.
I think I ran to one of those uncles one year and I went home to visit. And like I didn't find out until after everything was said and done. Me and my sister are all adults. My youngest sister's 22 now. So it's like we're all adults in the situation. But it was afterwards, my uncle was like, yeah, I stopped drinking because he was watching you guys dance and have fun. I'm like, what the fuck? Because he was making comments. My uncle sitting next to him. My uncle's like, and apparently in his mind, he was like, let me just sip my beer just because I gotta fuck this nigga up. Because my uncle is very protective over me and my sisters and his own daughter. Like he's very protective of his nieces and his daughter. Like I was his little road dog when I was a baby. And now my niece, his great niece, is now the apple of his eye. He loves that little girl so much.
Oh.
My uncle loves kids. So it was like I grew up while he is a cheater. I love my uncle to pieces because he treats the nieces very well. He does cheat, but he also let us know like don't tolerate no shit from a nigga.
Amen.
Like, cause it's so fun. He tells us this, but he has like this weird family thing going on. It's hilarious, but he tells us to tolerate no shit from a nigga, no matter what. He's like, even if it's me, don't tolerate no shit. I'm like, word.
I like Uncle.
Yeah, so it's just I got lucky with that aspect that I had an uncle who was gonna fuck someone up if he even thought they were looking at us wrong for 2 seconds.
Child, I'm that uncle. I'm that cousin.
Hell yeah, I'm like that now. I'm like, also look at my niece. I'm like, what are you staring at? She's like, let me roll up my sleeves at the. Who are you looking at?
Look,
So it's like
we don't do this. We don't play that.
So yeah, just talking about all the feelings that brought up the Medea play and movie because I rewatched it actually not long ago, about during the quarantine.
Mm-hmm,
I legit watched. I want a Tyler Perry kick. I'm like, fuck it, I ain't got nothing else to do but sit at home all damn day.
Might as well.
I watched them all, and just rewatching that pissed me. Like as an adult, I think I was 26. As an adult, going, it's like living through life. I'm developing. I'm figuring out what I like and don't like. That pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to fight the mother. I'm like, now I really understand why this girl is so fucking angry and just talks to you like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you let it because you failed to protect her as a child. And then you forced her to look at that trauma every day.
Mm-hmm. And this is why I will say Tyler Perry, low-key, well, on the highest of keys. His plays are phenomenal. Just stop big screen. Please stop with the big screen stuff. It's not for you, sir. It's not.
I still got to watch Medea Homecoming, but I saw that picture with that wig. I'm like, oh shit,
oh,
ain't that good,
girl,
money?
The wig was laid to the bar of the universe.
He finally probably caved and got one of those Atlanta weed people instead of these damn makeup people all day. He probably caved and got.
Only Medea got that. Only Medea got that. Everybody else is like, you got your own. You'll be all right. But Medea was late.
Let's be real. I saw a couple on Instagram. I'm like, is that a wig?
Right. But yeah, I just need him to stick with just doing plays because the plays have some great meaning to it. They might be very spiritual and whatnot and very religious. Man, I can do that.
Some actually like my Diary of Mad, that when she went back to her abusive as ex cheating of a husband.
Right.
I'm like, why'd you come back?
That didn't
He
happen.
dogged you out verbally. He dogged you out. He made you bark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. That's close to and beg. I don't beg nobody for shit. You can leave
You know, she ended up going to Shamar Moore. I think that's his name. Well,
in the
that
movie.
one. In the movie.
In the play,
In the
she
play,
went
she did go
back to
back.
the.
She did go back.
I guess she got enough kickback from that play and realized, you know what? Maybe she should go with the nigga that made her happy.
Right.
I'm like, I ain't gonna listen to no motherfucker that treated me, but she did. Yeah, fuck that movie. She did wait to exhale moment to that man.
I'm so done.
Not to that extent of waiting to exhale, but she did get that wheelchair. Whoop. I'm like, well, I replayed that scene of him fall into the tub like several times because he just went floop. I seen fish flop in the sink with more grace.
I'm so done.
Shit was funny. Don't lie to me.
That was
You know
hilarious
it's
as
funny.
hell. But so it's time, do some never have I ever to
All right.
lighten up the mood because this was a pretty heavy episode. I hope y'all
Just that last little bit.
love that realness that you received today. So yeah, never have I ever sucked someone's toes or had my toes sucked. Oh,
I think he tried as a joke, but I'm like, get away from me. It was because I looked down, like, what the hell is this man doing? All I saw was this goldfish look going around my toe. I'm like, ugh. He was like, I thought girls like having their toes sucked. I'm like, no, did you ask me?
Look, I have not had it done. Would I? Probably, but I want to make sure I have a nice pedicure before that happens. So
I feel that. That's real.
So yeah. Let's do a second one. Never have I ever flirted with someone when I knew they were taken.
Yeah.
I definitely have.
Even fucked them because I could.
I have too. You know what?
You wanna know why?
Why?
Because their partner pissed me off.
Oh, that's petty.
Their partner called me ugly. This is before Cardi B's Once Upon a Time I Heard It I Was Ugly. Came from a big dude, nigga wanna fuck with me. I'm like, fuck y'all.
I'm done.
And I told her about it the next day.
Oh my God. That is
What?
some savage shit, and I'm here for it, and I support.
No, I'm like, you should have kept your fucking mouth shut.
I'm ugly enough to pull your nigga, so what does that make you?
Plus, I was 23 and free, so I want to do that now at 28. Because you grow as a person.
You're right. My message to you individuals who's out here searching for a husband or wife, do not ask God to send you a husband or wife. The reason why is you're asking the wrong questions, because the Lord is going to answer that question and send you somebody else's husband or wife. Ask for your ideal partner, okay? Keep that in mind. That's just some wisdom from myself to you.
Or just stay single for a couple years and figure out yourself.
Yes.
Like, work on yourself. Don't just hop from relationship, because that's how people end up in situations that they get mad about later. Stay single for a year and a half. Just enjoy life and go out. Enjoy yourself.
Child, that's how you end up with pandemic divorces. I don't like you. I don't like you either. Why did we get married? Because we look cute on Instagram. You're right.
Then they take another picture together. We broke up.
Oh, when you just find the right one for you, cute.
They break up 3 weeks later.
Oh my God.
Oh, I need to stop shopping. I do need to figure out if my dress will look good Saturday.
Oh Lordy. Well, let me go ahead and close out the show.
I got this shit to hold my dress down. It's the
like
same
that.
glue stuff that cheerleaders and gymnasts use to keep their outfits and
Oh yeah, Shane said she's about to be glued. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my dress not riding up, even though he won't complain. I'm like, listen, I want to walk without worrying about life.
Bitch, you better send pictures.
What do you say?
I said, bitch, you better send pictures.
I'll send you a picture.
All right, cool.
I'll send you the clips of those alpha podcasts.
Oh,
Or the clips making fun of the alpha podcast, because I ain't watching them bitches directly.
Oh, I should do reaction videos for my for the YouTube channel. Listen to those.
We can do them together.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
You, me, and Akeem.
Oh, we still gotta do our Batman episode. But
you trash.
trash as fuck. Oh, somebody's triggered. Anyways, thank you all for listening to the Soliloquy podcast, where we step out and talk about sexuality. Thank you so much, Shane, for
No problem, my love.
thank you for being vulnerable and just being open and just
You know what?
engaging
That
in this
comes with
conversation.
therapy
Facts.
because they teach Black girls like to be strong.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to be vulnerable for some reason.
Not at all.
We gotta be the rock.
Child, that reminds me of my upbringing. Can't even cry.
Hell no.
Child, I cry now. I enjoy
Oh
it.
yeah, cry it out. I'll cry with you if you want to sit down. Well, we gotta do it virtually, but I'll pull up the Zoom, a little movie. We can have our little tubs of ice cream and just say, "Fuck this." We can watch a Lifetime movie.
We cry.
We can watch a Lifetime movie.
Oh God, please no, not Lifetime. I'm just gonna do every single Lifetime movie. White woman, some trouble. Black best friend, she's still in trouble. Oh my gosh, the killer is a white man.
I used to date.
Every single one. Oh wait, they've diversified. They also have the Asian best friend and the South Asian best friend.
You know,
Probably someone from the Caribbean every now and
movie
again.
during Christmas season.
Girl, I saw one little clip that's like, oh look, this Hallmark Christmas movies. It was literally the same color scheme, you know, the red and green. They kept the same.
Oh yeah, Hallmark
same
Christmas are the
red.
exact same movie. They just changed the cast and setting.
Right. I'm like, the fuck are we doing?
But
Is
listen,
this what-
they good to watch during the. We had nothing else to do in wintertime though.
I'm like, that's my cue that America is extremely depressed, because you know what they say. You watch the same thing on repeat when you're going through a high state of anxiety. We can't change shit up, which is why we have reboot after reboot. But the reboots are doing some little changes, but
But they're wholesome, okay?
They are.
It's like, fuck, that kid has no right to be that damn cute.
Right. Oh shit! I forgot.
So we close the episode out.
This episode is over at this point. So y'all, please make sure you like, subscribe, follow, comment, follow us on YouTube, all this other shit. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you or someone you know and love are battling with thoughts of suicide, we ask that you reach out and talk to someone. You are not alone. I have battled with similar thoughts, so I understand how you are feeling in this moment. You are not weak. You are not a burden. You are a person with valid pain and experiences. You are loved. If you are in that headspace where you cannot see the brighter side of life or just wanting to end it all, please reach out to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. If you're not ready to talk on the phone, or if you just prefer to text, the crisis text line can be reached by texting HOME to 741-741. Again, text HOME to 741-741. Thank you for listening to the Soliloquy podcast, and we hope you're still with us for our next episodes. Thank you for listening to the Soliloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. You can subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting app and find us on the web at www.soliloquy.com. That's www.heauxliloquy.com. Share the podcast with your friends and join the conversation.